if you ever feel like your life is a circus, like you are juggling so much personally and professionally, if you have these goals, so you're being pulled in so many different directions, you are not alone. That is why here at Rise, we have a huge focus. In fact, we dedicate an entire month to productivity and time management. And I am sitting here with Tonoa Manuel, who is a true magician at making it all happen. She is being pulled in a million different directions, both personally and professionally. And I'm excited for her to tell you more about that. But what I really wanted to sit down and have her share with us is how you can balance, delegate, organize, strategize all of it to have, well, at least I'd say maybe not have it all, but to have pieces of it all and how to work on that blend. So Tonoa Manuel, she's the CEO and lead project strategist of SIYG Consulting Firm. She is a Rise Denver member and an absolute superstar in all things she touches. So Tonoa, thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Kate.
I would love to start by you telling all of our viewers a little bit about who you are and all of the balls that you are juggling right now, both personally and professionally.
Awesome. Thanks, Kate. My name is Tonoa Manuel, and yes, I'm out of the Denver office. I'm occasionally in St. Louis too, so you might catch me there as well. As Kate said, I am the lead project strategist and CEO of SIYG Consulting Firm. So I do all things strategic planning. I help nonprofits, small businesses, and mid-sized businesses with their strategic framework and what it means to embed diversity, equity, inclusion within that foundation so that they can continue to scale and grow. I'm also a mother of 3. I am a wife. I am actually getting ready to go back to school in December for my doctoral degree, which I'm super excited about. But yeah, to Kate's point, juggling a lot of balls. Definitely feel like sometimes I'm dropping some, but I manage and it all works out. I'm super excited to be here with her and talk about the circus.
Yes, talk about the circus. Yes. Yes, welcome to my 3-ring circus here. Because I feel like, even before the pandemic hit, I felt like I was juggling a lot of different things. But I think in the pandemic really highlighted for all profession, both professionally and personally, how much we're all dealing with and trying to make, from childcare to elder care, home management, and not to mention then the professional needs and desires and things that we have on our to-do lists and our professional responsibilities. Many of us, especially here at Rise, are leaders and managers, and we have goals, that we need to hit and meet. I mean, there's just a lot, not to mention also social issues that we're all grappling with too. There's just a lot. And I think that it's easy to get overwhelmed. It's easy to get burnt out. And it's also, especially for women, I think, easy to put all of the other things first and put ourselves on the back burner a bit. And so here at Rise, we've always really admired how you've been able to sort of blend all of the things and continue moving forward, being joyful and successful, all of those things. So love to pick your brain a little bit about how you, some tips and tactics and ways that you've sort of balanced or blended all of it. So tell me a little bit about your experience with trying to balance all of these things on your plate.
So I am not a believer in balance. I believe that we integrate who we are. And what that means is I am a mom, I am a business owner, I am a wife. I never, ever take those hats off. As I sit here with Kate, I am still a mom. I mean, I'm not present with my kiddos, but if my phone rings and it's school, I'm going to answer it, right? And I think that's a piece of integration that we don't realize that that's what we're doing. I'm not balancing anything. I am very much living and breathing as Tonoa, the mom, the wife, the CEO, the student, and I'm doing it with grace, and I'm okay with that. And I think in the midst of being able to juggle all those things and integrate, it's because I lead in vulnerability and my authenticity. So again, if my phone rings and it's school, I can totally say, oh my God, Kate, give me just 1 second. This is my kid's school calling. Kate can resonate with me because she's also a mom. I've also told her I'm a parent. So I think sometimes we have to lead in that vulnerability in order to understand how we are juggling things and how we are integrating our lives. I never really take any of those hats off.
Yeah. No, I think that's huge. And then I also like the idea it's modeling it for others and not being afraid to model that for others.
Yeah.
And I think about the people that you're modeling it for, clients, but also for your kids too. Makes me think about that as well, and showing up in that authenticity and that vulnerability. So you gave the example of like picking up a phone call in the middle. Tell me how else that shows up for you.
So, like I said, I have 3 children under 10. They keep me super busy, but I'm also a business owner. So the example I like to use is I can be very much at my kiddos' volleyball game. She is in her zone, right, doing her thing. She knows mom is present. She's barely looking at me. I'm in the stands. My phone rings and it's Kate. Mm-hmm. Either I have 2 choices. I can answer Kate's call, or I can let the call go to voicemail and shoot Kate a text. Either way, I'm going to lead in vulnerability no matter how I decide to respond. So if I decide to pick up the phone, I'm going to say, oh my God, Kate, it's kind of noisy. I'm in the gym at my kids' volleyball game. Can I give you a call back in an hour or 2, or is it something that needs to happen right now? Mm-hmm. And Kate then has 1 or 2 responses. It's either, hey, oh my God, enjoy your family. Tell her we said good luck, or hey, this is going to take 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes. And I can say, yeah, I got 5 minutes. And I think, I'm still very much at my kid's game. She saw me in the stands. She knows I'm here. I'm not missing a beat. I'm still watching. Kate knows that I could be distracted. And it was Kate's choice to say, like, no, this can take 5 minutes. And I think that is where grace and vulnerability and leading in that matters, right? Because I've given Kate the distractions that I'm having right now, where I'm currently at, and how I'm going to show up for her. So if anything comes out weird, Kate should expect that, because I said to her, hey, I'm at this game. I'm with my kiddo. Is this important now, or can it wait in an hour when I'm in complete silence in front of my computer if I need to be? What does that look like? And I think in those moments, more often than not, people will say, oh my God, enjoy your family. No, nothing's on fire. And if it is on fire, I might not even be the one they're calling. They might reevaluate. And so we have to understand what we have control over and what we don't have control over. I can give Kate all the pieces of information she needs to make the best decision of if this call that she made to me in this moment is that important, or if it really, she can call me back. And so I think when we decide to lead in that, that is where I am integrating my life. I have shown up for my client because I didn't let you go to voicemail. I answered for you, but I'm also still here with my kiddo. And that's super important. It didn't stop anything. I'm going to either put the phone back and keep watching, cheering her on, or I'm going to have a call with Kate for 5 minutes. But I think it's also setting the boundaries. Like, Kate, do you really think that it's going to take 5 minutes? If it's 5 minutes, you have me for 5 minutes, right? But if you know it's not going to be 5 minutes, then I'm going to advise you, like, 5 minutes is, if it's over 5 minutes, it's too long. And like, I'm not going to be able to show up for you wholeheartedly, nor my kiddo. That's integration. I didn't take any hat off to do what I did to make sure that everyone is on the same page about who I am and how I'm showing up.
Yeah. Well, and what I like about what you've said too, because I've heard some different schools of thought, some about it being very pragmatic. It's, I am only at my kid's school, or I'm only playing with my kid right now, or I'm only doing XYZ right now. And then, okay, and then I'll switch to wear this hat and do that. And I think that could work for some people.
For sure.
But I like how you talk. It's like the balance is tough, and blending where you can, but with clearly communicated boundaries, both for yourself and the people that you're blending with, and then holding to those boundaries. They say it's going to be 5 minutes and it's not a 5 minute thing, it seems like, okay, no, now, and kind of cutting it off, but setting and communicating those clear boundaries, I think is key probably for yourself and for the people that you're working with.
For sure. And I think too, like, I am one that sets expectations and boundaries up front. I ask my clients, like, what are your boundaries and expectations of me, and vice versa. And I think because I do that and I lead that in vulnerability and say what I need, then people then tell me what they need, and we show up for one another 100% in. Cool. If I have not set clear expectations or made boundaries, and I'm with you for 6 months, and then 6 months in, you're going bananas and you're trying to call me, and I'm like, no, dude, it's like that is then where there is a disconnect. We can alleviate so many disconnects if we are upfront in the very beginning. And we lead with that vulnerability, and those boundaries are so important to just set the clear expectation, because at the end of the day, you do not want to be pulling your hair out because the phone rang, you're with your kid. Like, it just doesn't make sense. All my clients know I'm a mom. They know I'm a wife. And this business is probably third on the totem pole, but I care about it no different than my family.
Sure.
And so because they know that, I've not run into a situation where I've made anyone feel uncomfortable of saying like, hey, I'm like in the middle of dinner right now. Can I call you back? Absolutely no call. I'm so sorry. We interrupt you for dinner. And I've done the same to them. Oh my God, Tonoa, now you know on Tuesdays it's massage day. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot, Kate. Call me back, right? It's real.
Yeah.
But that's how we treat people like humans, and we meet people where they are.
That's huge. Well, you know, something that you just touched on too, is it's like, okay, something that's flexible, and, you know, what's flexible and what isn't. And then, you know, figuring out like, okay, on Tuesdays, XYZ happens. So talk to me a little bit about how you even go about organizing your day though, and like setting the priorities and things. So are you a calendar person?
I am.
Okay. Yeah.
Definitely a calendar person, live by the calendar. I am the one that's like, if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I do block time. Block time is a type of productivity method, and it just allows me to know where I have time for me or my family, and then when I'm specifically scheduling clients and what that looks like too. So for me, like Monday, for example, is a CEO day for me. I do not hold meetings on Mondays. Like I just don't do it.
Cool.
It is all back in, making sure everything's functioning. Things that are on my to-do list, they all get done on Monday. And then there is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the bulk of my client meetings. Like I'm full schedule, back to back. I have blocks of time on Tuesday evening and Thursday evenings where I am doing what I call like research and development, which means like I've taken my clients for the week. What are they working on? What do they need? What information, what resources? And I gather those things during that time only. My husband actually recently just came for me a little bit and was looking at my schedule, told me that my schedule looked like a lunch menu, but I had no lunch scheduled on my calendar.
Oh yes, eating, right.
And so it's easy when you have block time that, you know, you realize that there's a lot of time in your schedule that you don't even think that you have, but you have it. When we're just embedded in the work and I'm just going, and if I'm not following that calendar, I'll realize that there was like 3 hours that I didn't have anything scheduled, that I didn't even have to be doing this. I could have intentionally and purposely scheduled a break or a lunch break, or said, okay, let me write down some things I need to write down, or whatever that looks like. And so it was easy in that moment when you said it for me to go right into my calendar and say, oh God, let me block an hour for lunch. Yeah. Now, what I choose to do with that lunch is on me.
Sure.
But the time exists where someone is not readily available to me because it's blocked off. And so time blocking has been huge. It's definitely changed my life and allowed me to juggle all the things and just integrating those calendars, right? Like I have the family calendar that my husband adds his stuff. I add my stuff. It's integrated with my work calendar. And again, if it's not on the calendar, you are not scheduled. It does not exist. And I have to be okay with that too. And I think that's another boundary. Productivity and time blocking is a boundary. Like if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist. And if it needs to be, then you need to schedule an appointment.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So from just like a tip standpoint, you mentioned too, you've got your family calendar, you got your husband's stuff, he's on there. What app do you use for that?
I'm a Gmail girl. I am just a Google calendar. So we're all iPhone users. So we have the family calendar. It's my calendar is color coordinated. So yellow is the family calendar. Anything pink and purple is things for me. And then each client has its own color. And red is I am unavailable for lunch break, school pickup, block time out, all red. And then same for my Monday CEO days, red.
Smart. I love it. And is that when like during your CEO is kind of your admin day when you take set time apart once or twice a week to check in with your calendar and get organized for the coming week?
Yep.
Okay.
So Monday is definitely that. It is my admin back office and stuff. I do check my work calendar, make sure like I've went through all emails from the previous week, that I didn't miss anybody who was scheduled and it didn't go on the calendar. It just is like my double I day, essentially. And then Friday afternoon, usually between like 12 and like 3 or 4, just a few hours of my Friday, I do the same thing. Okay, in the week, I compile all notes. I make sure that all things are scheduled, especially for like Tuesday, Wednesday of the next week, to make sure I didn't miss anything. All emails have gone out to clients that like, yes, we're on the calendar, or yeah, you rescheduled, just the correspondence, and that all happens Friday. So yeah, definitely taking those times out to just be intentional and purposeful in communication, because that's huge in like the whole integration process.
Yeah. Well, and I would think delegation probably has to be a huge thing for you as well, of like what that helps probably bring to light for you. What don't I have the capacity to do then, or taking that time apart, or what you don't have, what buckets can't go in, new clients or a new project. Like, well, and it's so funny. I think about, of all the things that you've just talked about that you've got on your plate, personally and professionally, you're getting your PhD. You have looked at your crazy lunch menu of a calendar and you're like, you know what I have time for? Getting my PhD. Yeah. So how did you go about even deciding that you even have the capacity? I want to touch on delegation maybe if we have time, but like, how did you even get to figuring out that you could even take on something so massive? Like, how did you keep that big of a goal and that big of a project even on your radar within the midst of everything you've got going on?
I think it's always been a goal of mine. I shared that with you. Like, it's always been something I knew I wanted to do. It was to go back to school and get my doctoral degree. And I never really had like the timing together. But when you live strategically, you can make the time that you think you don't have. And it kind of goes back to when I said, like, most times we're working and we have time in our schedule we've not even paid attention to because we're just jamming it out, right? Yeah. But for me, I basically took the fact that I wanted my doctorate degree and I said, okay, well, how long will it take me to get it done? Okay, am I going to go to night school while kids are asleep? Am I going to go to day school while kids are at school? What does study time look like? And I literally mapped it out, no different than I would for my clients. I mapped out going back to school. And within that, it allowed me to look at my schedule and say, okay, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have this time after 5. Okay, I could go to night school. Okay, well, Wednesday and Thursday during this time, I can go to day school. Like, what does that look like? So now I know that I have this time. I also know that I do admin on Monday. If I absolutely needed to, I guess, integrate my school with my admin day, I could totally do that because I still have half day Friday, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So then it's just believing that this goal, and then once I have it set and I put it on my calendar and I block out that time, everything else that comes now has to move around that. I have to say, hey, Kate, she's like, Tuesdays and Thursdays, can we meet? And I'm like, hey, unfortunately, Tuesdays, Thursdays, I'm booked. I don't necessarily have to say why, but typically because I have a good rapport with the people that I work with, I can say, I'm going back to school, Kate, like, and I start Tuesdays and Thursdays. And Kate's going to be, knowing who she is, she's going to say, oh my God, that's so great, right? Like, I don't know how you're doing it, but good luck. Yeah. What other days work, right? Or I can then say, hey, I'll send you my calendar. Everything's updated. Pick some time. It's your time, me and you, right? But I think that goes hand in hand with any goal or any objective that you're trying to set, is like literally mapping it out. Time frame. How long is it going to take? What's the objective behind it? What's the end goal? The end goal is that this is going to make me better for my clients with this educational background, right? Like, this is going to give me the credibility moving forward of things that I want to do on a global scale. It all matters, but I can't show up in that if I've not expressed that, right? Yeah. And so that is the importance of like creating that goal and saying like, okay, time is now. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I think it would be so easy to say, this is crazy. This is not a good time. We're in the midst of a pandemic. I'm the CEO of this company that I'm growing. I've got this growing client list. Kids are just getting back to school. What the heck is going on? And yet it was important enough to you as a goal that you had set, and you took the time, and you could have gone through that exercise and agreed, no, this isn't the right time to do it. But because you have it all mapped out already, and you're maintaining it and keeping up with it, which, if I'm being honest, that's where my trouble would be. I would have like a week or two of being like, I'm going to get super organized. And then I would drop the ball and break my own calendar and not be accountable to it. So I suspect that's got to be a little bit of a part of it too, is accountability and asking for help when you need it. And if you see something going off rails.
Yeah, no, for sure. Cause I like that you said, like, there's times that I looked at my calendar, and that's probably why I'm just now going back, right? Like, it's times I looked at my calendar and I'm like, oh, I have no more. Yeah. And I think you have to be okay with that. Like, the goal, just because I have the goal doesn't mean that it goes away. It just means that the time is not right now. And I think that's how I plan ahead, right? Like, I would then start saying, okay, well, what does Q1 and Q2 look like for me? Right? And building that out next year if I wanted to start a school next year, right? That means any new client coming in, I've already blocked time right now, right? And then school starts, and you can release time when you need to, because now I have a schedule. But it's getting the facts, right? Me enrolling in school, I instantly ask, like, well, what does the night school schedule look like? What does the day school schedule look like? Okay, it's all online. Great. That means I could be anywhere at any time and do work, right? So now I can block these times out if I needed to and live with that until my schedule comes out. Schedule comes out, okay, great. I can release these other times that I blocked out, and now my calendar's free again. But now my school schedule lives and breathes in my schedule.
Yeah, no, and I love it. And as you said, like, it's not about a balance. You never at any point said, oh, I've got to have X number of hours of personal. It's like, it's a blend, and that it looks different quarter to quarter, and it shifts as those goals, personal and professional, as those shift and change and new ones come up and fall off as well, as you've completed them. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. I'm feeling inspired. I'm certainly thinking about my calendars and some things that need to be added on and taken off, and then ways that I can really, I like the idea of, especially the blocking off the admin time, because I think it's so easy to just get caught up in the doing and get kind of drown in that. So I might be blocking off my Mondays and stuff now too, especially now that my daughter's back in school. I've got more bandwidth. So very cool. Tonoa, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to provide contact information and stuff too, because I'm sure you'd be happy to, as your schedule allows, continue this conversation with others.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure if they've got more questions for you professionally or personally, they can connect with you. Tonoa, thank you so much. And thanks to all of our viewers for joining us today. We're going to have a good one.